Okay, hold right there, fella. Easy, easy, easy. Come on. Me and you, everything's fine. Oh, golly. This is such a big fish, Deb. Huh? I'm beaching a whale, yeah. The hook came loose. Hey, Paul, I'm gonna break my rod.
You need a hand?
I cannot catch that thing. I got him on the bank and I can't catch him. How did I ever catch that fish? Whew.
Jerry McInnes has been taking America fishing for over 20 years. Let's join him for a visit to this week's fishing hole, brought to you by Eagle Claw. When you buy Eagle Claw fishing tackle, you get quality. Winnebago, an American adventure in motor homes, outdoor equipment, and clothing. Mercury Outboards, a fishing legend. Put the legend behind you. Ranger Boats, we still build them one boat at a time. New DuPont Stren class line. Come rewrite the record book with Stren. Overcast 15, the only sunscreen made especially for fishermen.
Jerry McInnes here. I've got a great fish recipe to pass along to you today. I've really been getting into that fish cooking this year, haven't I? Remember a few weeks ago when we were salmon fishing up in Alaska there at Elfin Cove? Ooh, that's where we're going again today. That salmon fishing is just hard to beat. They've also got great halibut fishing. When we were up there, we came into the lodge there at Tanaku Lodge, and the cook, Reed Webster, showed us how to bake halibut, and it was just out of this world. When I come home, I baked some more halibut. Of course, I ran out of that in a hurry, so I tried it on some other fish. I've got some speckled trout right here from down at Matagorda Bay we caught a few weeks ago that I tried it with, and it's just as good. And I thought before we went fishing, we are going fishing up in Alaska again today, I thought before I went, though, that I'd pass it along to you, and I want you to try it. It's a super recipe. Let's go in the kitchen here. Now, I really have to make sure of my ingredients today because I know the other day I was telling you about making a poor man's lobster, and I said put a cup of salt in that pot back here. Oh, that would have been a lot of salt. I was really just checking to see who all was watching. I think several of you was watching. Now then, I've taken, and for lack of a better name, we're going to call this Reed's Baked Fish, because Reed is the one that showed me how to do it. I've taken a fillet, I put it in a baking pan, and I've already seasoned my fish with a little bit of pepper, a little bit of garlic, a little salt, not a cup of salt either. And then I'm going to start putting this special stuff on it, which will really make it great. Now again, remember that this can be a fillet of any fish. And I've chopped up a little bit of cheese. And you just put as much of this on here as you think you really want. And I've chopped myself up some onions. Ooh, I like those onions myself. Okay, and I've made a sauce here. That may have been a little bit too many onions. I've made a sauce here that is really the ticket. This is what tops it off. And this sauce was made out of a can of cream and mushroom soup, 8 ounces of sour cream, and I've thrown a few mushrooms, just throwing them in there for taste. And again, you put this on your fish about, cover them up. Cover them up, and that'll just about do it. Oh, Reed would be so proud of me. Turned me into a regular cook here. Remember, can of cream and mushroom soup, some sour cream, put 8 ounces of sour cream in, and a few mushrooms, and mix it up. And you've got enough sauce in there for several fish. And again, as I told you last time, if you get a hold of me, we'll send you a copy of this. This is great. This may be one of the best fish recipes I've had in a long time. I'm putting it in the oven. I'm going to cook it at about 325 for 45 minutes, I'm going to check it a time or two, of course, and see how it's doing. We also need to be checking on those salmon right now. Let's go up to Alaska and see if we can't get our string stretched by some of those gigantic silver salmon. I'm going to baby him a little bit more than I have been in the other ones, maybe. That's the problem. What a fish on a fly rod. Need some help, old buddy. Bad.
Boy, he's a nice bright one.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty. I hooked 4 in there before I finally... Huh?
How's he doing on that pull?
Fair. That's a lot of fish on a fly rod.
That's a lot of fish on a fly rod.
He just won't come out of that river back up into the little bay here. Come on, fella. Here we go. Oh, there he goes. Say, isn't that old Paul Johnson slipping up on my salmon right there in the creek? If you weren't with me a couple of weeks ago, you won't know what I'm talking about. Paul Johnson is from Elfin Cove. Elfin Cove is in Alaska. That's where we're catching these salmon today. And Elfin Cove, let me get you situated a little bit here. Elfin Cove is about 100 miles west of Juneau, right on the ocean, right off the ocean, I should say, right at the mouth of the icy strait, across from Glacier National Park in the Fairweather Mountain Range. A spectacular place. We'll take a look at it here a little bit before the day's over with. Paul Johnson has taken us up a stream by using his big boat to get us close, and then he tows along a small boat with a 10-horse motor, and then we scoot up the streams and fish for all kinds of salmon, really. But on this particular day, we were fishing for the silvers. Now, we were the guests up there of the Tanaku Lodge, and Rich Owens and Al Sullivan, originally from Oregon, have developed a wonderful lodge up there and have more fishing than they can handle. They have fishing out in the big water, trolling. They have all these streams to fish. They have king salmon, silver salmon, pinks, sam-eyes, sockeyes, halibut. Oh my goodness, they have a wonderful, wonderful fisherman's paradise. Now, my wife Debbie is up here with me, and Debbie has fished before, but I don't know if she's ever wrestled with fish as tough as what we're getting in on this stream. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Paul took my fly rod away from me right there, and we never seen him again for several hours. Oh, I enjoyed fishing with that gentleman. Now, we're just scooting on down the creek here. You absolutely can't believe the amount of silver salmon in this little creek, which is very close to our lodge. There's so many different places that are just a hoot and a holler away from the lodge to get to. There's just so many spots you don't know where to go to next. But it's all salmon fishing, and again, right now, we are throwing little jigs for silvers. Not a little jig anymore.
Maybe not.
Ooh, he's a long way out there.
Well, he is, isn't he?
Got him wrapped a little bit right now. He's wrapped on the tail. Now he's straightened out again. Get him up here, kid. Wait. Let me twist you. Right.
Yeah. That's better.
Got some stobs right there now.
Hey, so far so good.
Maybe you better get. Ooh, doggone.
You got one?
That's the first hit I've had in here. If you want now, when he gets kind of close, just kind of back up.
Yeah. He's playing it kind of sly right now.
You are, or he
is?
Oh, I see. Oh, you got him. Hey, I can get him. Jim.
Well, why don't you?
Get on the... Isn't that a finesse way to catch a fish?
It's called beaching them.
That's beaching. Now, if we can get the mud off of him, we'll see how beautiful he is. Ain't that a shame? That's too pretty a fish to
Really?
get in the mud, isn't it?
It's a nice one. How big you think it is?
Oh, 3-4 pounds. You buy that?
I was going to buy it there for a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'd say, I don't know, they're so fat. That's probably a 10 or 12 pound fish, I imagine. Say, we were fishing with 6-pound test line, and those fish are just all you want to fight, and I think old Debbie did a pretty good job. Hey, wait till we put her on one of these giant halibut here in a minute. We'll see her struggle even more. Got old Paul Johnson slipped down there in our hole again. We must have had about a half a mile, maybe, of super fishing up this little stream just away from Elfin Cove. This is the Tanaku Lodge where Rich Owen and Al Sullivan hosted us for this fantastic salmon trip. And let Rich tell you a little bit about the area. You know, the thing that interests me, I guess, as much as the fishing, two things. One is the little town, the little community, Elfin Cove. How old is it?
Elfin Cove is approximately 50 or 60 years old. It's an interesting little community. Located approximately, 90 miles due west of Juneau almost. Made up primarily of trollers, commercial fishermen. A lot of the people here in the summertime are people who are from the lower 48, population probably 60, 70 in the summertime, and down in the 20s during the winter.
Well, probably right now it's getting close to 25 or 30.
Yeah,
I noticed a lot of the commercial fishermen
That's right.
packing it up and leaving. Well, you got a few stores here, though.
Right.
Laundromat, general store, and so on.
Yeah, they they do a booming business in the summertime, and the commercial packer that the commercial fishermen sell to are taking orders now for the people this winter bringing in their food supplies.
Is that right?
So.
Well, you know, I think the thing that people really can't get a grasp of, don't understand is, well, of course, there's no road here. You come here by either a barge or by a float plane. The people like myself and I guess everyone down in the lower United States don't really get an understanding of how life is up here. And I like it. I think it's great.
It's a great place. After you spend 3 or 4 days just from the people who visit with us this summer, you lose track of time.
Oh, definitely.
One day means nothing, as to
and you
what day of the
got
week.
one other thing that I want you to just touch on for a second here. Looking right out your window here is one of the great sights of the world, Brady Glacier.
That's right. It's a large glacier. It's backed by the Fairweather mountain range. That range runs clear into the Yukon and attains elevations of 14,000, 15,000 feet. And it is spectacular, especially in the morning sun.
Oh, my goodness.
It's gorgeous.
Well, it's taken me 2 different settings to cover everything that I needed to cover with you on this trip up to Alaska. And the reason being, there's just so many things to see and such good fishing that I knew that I couldn't get it in one show. So that's the reason we've done 2 different shows on it. For instance, one particular day, we just eased up towards Glacier Bay and sat right in the inlet to the bay itself and watched the whales. Now, I don't care how much you like to fish and how exciting the salmon fishing is, this really almost hypnotizes you. You could sit out there in a boat and just watch those whales all day long. They were spectacular. We've got 2 boats out in the bay right now, and we're actually heading fishing. We've got a crew over in Al Sullivan's boat, and I'm over in Paul Johnson's boat. And remember I told you that they took these big boats and went, in many cases, to the smaller streams and then took the smaller boats up the streams, the smaller boat that they're towing behind them. But on many occasions, they'd troll for the salmon out in the big water, or as we're doing here today, just go in some different areas and anchor and sit and watch the scenery and fish a little bit. Sometimes not fish too awfully hard. Paul Johnson's look like he's fishing awful hard, isn't he? Believe it or not, we were catching halibut off the back end of the boat, small halibut, and having them for lunch within a couple hours after we caught them. Is that fresh fish or is that fresh fish? Meanwhile, in the other boat, this is funny. The other boat is just over closer to the bank, halibut fishing. Now, have you ever seen a halibut? Well, look out. These are fish. Today, they're fish from 25 to 60 pounds, I guess. The biggest fish brought into the lodge this year weighed, I think, 260, 270 pounds. And this is Al Sullivan on the back, helping my wife, Debbie, who is having herself a time catch these halibut. Now, also on the boat is Ken Oberich, who is an outdoor writer. And Ken's kind of running around on the top of the boat and every place getting pictures. And over behind Debbie is Reed Webster, the super cook I was telling you about. Now, this is kind of funny. Debbie is bouncing these jigs off the bottom. It's just like you were out, I don't know, striper fishing or crappie fishing with bouncing little jigs off the bottom at home in your lake. Well, these jigs weigh 2 or 3 pounds, and the rods, of course, are a lot bigger, but they're still just bouncing them off the bottom. Now, watch Debbie. Now, she's got, again, I don't know, that fish probably would weigh 25 pounds, maybe a little more. No, that's probably 20, 25 pounds. That other one was a little bigger than that. Now, Reed, in the background, has just laced into a giant. Reed was such a neat guy. Now, watch what happens. Of course, Rich is about, this halibut is about to wiggle Rich off the back end of the boat. And he's watching Reed over there. And Debbie just kind of give up, you know. And what she did was just walk by Reed. And without saying yay or nay, Reed handed her the rod. And she was right in the middle of fighting his fish, too. And of course, Reed just kind of went back and cooled it a little bit, sat down, took it easy. And Debbie has got a fight on your head. I didn't catch a halibut. Well, I caught some little bitty ones, but I didn't fish for these big ones. I understand that they are the toughest things while they're on the bottom. When you start getting them into the top, then you just about got them whipped. But this is a gigantic fish to be catching. And when you see them come up towards the top, it makes you want to get back in the cabin and close the door. They're pretty mean-looking guys. Well, Debbie has fought this fish probably 15 minutes getting it this far. Al Sullivan very cleverly drops him back into the water, and Debbie starts again. She has all the skin knocked off of her knuckles. She is trying to control the rod. Reed is giving a lot of support in the background. Debbie's saying, when I land this fish, Reed, I'm going to throw you in the lake. There was an awful screaming and hollering and carrying on going on in that particular boat that we couldn't salmon fish over in our boat. It was just terrible what we were going through. Oh, you can tell that that I've had a wonderful time in Alaska. We were up there for a week. The people were beautiful. The fishing was outstanding. I don't know what more to say. I've said so much about it that I keep thinking that I'm saying too much. I think you can tell by what's going on that we're all having a ball. Meanwhile, back on the salmon boat. I guess it's a salmon. Woo! Looks like we should have got a double out of that with all the rigs around, huh? I got somebody hung here. There we go. There we go.
Nice looking silver, Jerry.
Get underneath this rope here. It's not very big, Rich.
No, he's not.
Small. Yeah, that is a small one, isn't it? They do say hot, Rich. That may have been what hit my spoon back there. It's one of them little guys. All right. You lost yours?
Yeah.
Oh, son of a gun. Boy, a wad of them must have
Wait a minute.
eased through there, huh?
Come on, take it, take it.
Another fish right there?
Yeah, he's right there on it.
Come here, fella. Get your nose up there again.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a nice buck.
15 pounds?
I guess right in there. He's not through yet, I'm
No,
afraid.
he ain't. I tell you what, I'm a lot closer to that fish than you are.
You suppose we're going to have another tagged one here?
Yeah, we may have another tagged one. Tagged with a hook came loose. Hey, Paul, I'm gonna break my rod.
You need a hand?
I cannot catch that thing. I got him on the bank and I can't catch him. How did I ever catch that fish? Whew.
Jerry McInnes has been taking America fishing for over 20 years. Let's join him for a visit to this week's fin. Overcast 15, the only sunscreen made especially for fishermen.
Jerry McInnes here. I've got a great fish recipe to pass along to you today. I've really been getting into that fish cooking this year, haven't I? Remember a few weeks ago when we were salmon fishing up in Alaska there at Elfin Cove? Ooh, that's where we're going again today. That salmon fishing is just hard to beat. They've also got great halibut fishing. When we were up there, we came into the lodge there at Tanaku Lodge, and the cook, Reed Webster, showed us how to bake halibut, and it was just out of this world. When I come home, I baked some more halibut. Of course, I ran out of that in a hurry, so I tried it on some other fish. I've got some speckled trout right here from down at Matagorda Bay we caught a few weeks ago that I tried it with, and it's
Fishing Hole, brought to you by Eagle Claw. When you buy Eagle Claw fishing tackle, you get quality. Winnebago, an American adventure in motor homes, outdoor equipment, and clothing. Mercury Outboards, a fishing legend. Put the legend behind you. Ranger Boats, we still build them one boat at a time. New DuPont Stren class line. Come rewrite the record book with Stren.
okay. Hold right there, fella. Easy, easy, easy. Come on. Me and you, everything's fine. Oh, golly. This is such a big fish, Jeff. Huh? I'm beaching a whale, yeah. He's the